My name is Liliana, and I'm one of the team members. I will be presenting the Oso Vista's web portal. We designed a business plan presentation for you today, and Margaret should have the copy of it. But first, again, just like to thank all of you for being here. I know you drove a long distance to be with us today, and so I welcome you to the university. If you have any questions at the end of the presentation, we'd ask that you save your questions until then, okay? So we can get through the presentation. It should only be about 20 minutes to 30 minutes long. I'd also like to introduce my teammates here. This is Tim Bohr and Leon Archuleta, Ricky Selmarin, and Callie Colifay. And Alan. Sorry, Alan. Alan Hanlon. Alan's blending in over there. Okay, so this is a brief overview of our agenda today. We're going to start with just some background information about how this project came about and introduce you a little bit to it. Then go over some of the major elements of the business plan, which include the management and organization, the product service, marketing plan, operating and control systems, the financial plan, the growth plan, and then some final recommendations that we have for Oso Vista. Again, we'll save the questions for the end of the presentation. Okay, so the quick background, the history of the web portal venture came about a cooperative agreement between Anderson School of Management and the Small Business Institute. And that allowed us as students to serve as consultants to Oso Vista. And what we did was have plenty of discussions and with Margaret, and we did some observations and analysis of the organization. And we were able to help create a business model and a business plan that would allow Oso Vista to become self-sustainable while allowing while serving the needs of the community. And so the description of the web portal we have here as a nonprofit corporation to be operated as a functional form of the organization, and it's composed of a manager and 4 employees. And throughout the presentation, we'll break all that down for you. The goals of the web portal is to increase capacity and develop economic sustainability by supporting the entrepreneurial work of the local artist, again, serving the needs of the community, while through an effective online business platform is how we envision this. And so next, I'm going to have Leon come up and present.
Okay, so again, I'm Leon Archuleta, and I want to present the management and organization and kind of talk about everybody's role here and what we helped to envision for this portal. And so I'll draw your attention down to the bottom first of artists and entrepreneurs, because artists and entrepreneurs really are the backbone of this all. This is the whole reason why we created this. It was Margaret's vision to help, boost economic stability over there and help the community to continue to thrive. And we can't do that without the artists. So the artist entrepreneurs, of course, are going to be just that. They're going to create art and quality products for the portal, while simultaneously learning at the same time, learning entrepreneurial skills, learning how to access the portal and everything about it. So they're learning technological skills as well, and just learning how to be self-sufficient themselves. And artists are going to have to attend trainings, excuse me, and they will be trained on how to access the portal. Again, they will be trained on entrepreneurial abilities, financial literacy, etc. Now, the artists and entrepreneurs also will have to sign contracts with Ms. Morel for the portal. That way, it will allow them to establish a professional relationship with the portal and help them to, become a success as entrepreneurs in the community. Next, I want to discuss the management team overall. Of course, it's going to be Ms. Morel, the operations manager, as well as the board of advisors. And we'll go in more depth about the board of advisors. but they'll all have extensive experience in working in the community, providing them with a deeper understanding of business intricacies that are embedded within the culture. Their focus will be to educate and empower the people of the community by providing economic opportunity, business conducting tools, strategies, programs, and systems that will complement their entrepreneurial abilities. The management team will implement financial literacy, marketing, and cultural-based infrastructures for artists to conduct their business and professionalism. Now, at the top, we're going to have the operations manager, of course, who is going to be Margaret Morel. And she will oversee everybody throughout the entire project. She will be the one who will be interfacing with the board of advisors. And the great thing about Margaret is that she has a lot of experience with the Navajo community. I think it's about over 30 years of experience. So that's going to be a tremendous help for this portal and for the community. We want to stress entrepreneurs, artists, community, elder community partners. That's going to go a long way for the portal venture. You have effective relationship building between yourself, your current staff, the community there, board of advisors, and the artists, which is going to be a very valuable tool for this. You have excellent leadership skills to help sustain the economic stability that we're looking for the portal venture, and as well as resource sustainability. You've demonstrated that throughout the past years in obtaining grants, having an effective board for your nonprofit, and really helping to build and sustain that trust within the Rama community, which probably isn't very easy, And of course, you'll oversee all aspects of everybody on here, and again, you will be interfacing with the board of advisors to make this a success. Next on here, we have the quality assurance inspector, and the quality assurance inspector. Our goal here was to have somebody who's going to inspect the goods that will be put on the portal. That way, we have this the consistency within it. So, the quality assurance inspector will know what will be marketable to sell on the portal, what will not be, and to kind of coach artists through what's not working. And we would think also that the quality assurance inspector would do a lot of the aspects of preparing the shipping and getting that to suppliers. So that way it's an end-to-end with quality assurance. They're assuring that the artists know what the quality is. They're assuring that the operations manager is updated on the quality, and they're assuring that the customer is getting the quality product as well. That way, we can kind of continue to build continued business, repeat business. I think it's like the 80-20 rule is what we discussed. 80% of our business will be the 20% of the repeat customers that will come back. So that's really the aim of our quality assurance inspector. Now with the information technology technician, this will be the individual who will be operating the overall portal. And the information technology technician is going to essentially make everything user-friendly for both the artists and the end user, the customer, and as well as all of the employees. And information technology technician will essentially also be the individual who will assist the overall staff in knowing, in showing them what to do with the overall portal, as well as the artists. Next, we have the secretary/marketing individual, who we thought would be Quandalecia Secatero, who's done a lot of work with the Oso Vista Ranch project in the past. And to our knowledge, we know that Quandalecia is fantastic at marketing the actual nonprofit to the overall community and the surrounding communities. So we thought she had a lot of strengths there, and she can dedicate some time with the project portal and do a lot of her marketing skills within the community to build that trust with them and to let them know about this neat opportunity, and then eventually to expand out to the surrounding communities and elsewhere. Also with Juana Alicia, what we discussed her role would also be is to be the individual who will be in direct contact with the artists and the customers as well. So if a product's sold, she can contact both the artist, and she will be contacting the customer as well. And she will be taking, I guess, helping to deliver payments or helping the transfer of the finances to the artists. Next, we have the office assistant. And basically, the office assistant will provide general support services to all of the staff and customers in any way possible, while assuring that nothing really gets making sure the ball doesn't get dropped with any of the processes between quality assurance inspector, information technology technician, and the secretary and marketing specialist. Down at the bottom, you can see elder community partners. And I should also say that the artists and entrepreneurs, as well as the elder community partner, are not necessarily employees of the portal. So, I do need to stress that the role of the elderly community partner, as Mr. Rafaelito, Albert, and Tim know, as well as Margaret, that it's very important for the elders to influence the younger and the overall community, younger generation and the overall community in the Native American culture. The elders have a lot of wisdom and insight that they pass down. So the elders are really going to be that conduit to the rest of the community to show them that this is a very trustworthy venture, and that it's not for just a business or profit. It's actually for the community. It's to boost the overall economic conditions there, and to help the overall community and artists, entrepreneurs become more financial stable, and to learn a lot of skills while being a part of this whole thing. So continually you're going to see within management and organization our community elders being a part of this Oso Vista portal, and that's to disperse their wisdom, their outlook on it, and as well to give the management team and board of advisors advice as well on their cultural outlook, and assure that nothing's going out of the Rama Navajo Nation boundaries, culture, etc. Now, here's the board of advisors. Of course, we've got Mr. Rafaelito present, who's going to, we're assuming that he's going to be the board president temporarily. And we want him and Ms. Margaret Morell simultaneously to think about building a new board. That way, there's two separate ones. The existing board for the Oso Vista Ranch project can focus on the nonprofit side, and then we can have the board of advisors who will interface with the overall business community. They should be very strong in fundraising to help this project, and advise Ms. Morell on the future of the portal venture. Now, key outside advisors here, what we want is somebody other than the board of advisors who Ms. Morell can interface with to get additional resources for the portal. And of course, up top, you can see Ray Biguet. He is the current New Mexico State representative for the San Juan County. He sits on Technology Committee, Indian Affairs, as well as Telecommunications, which will add a lot of value for this portal venture, and he can give a lot of advice to Ms. Morell. John Largo, again, Economic Development Specialist for the Eastern Region Business Development Office. This is a really important key outside advisor here, because their whole mission and goal is to help the Navajo entrepreneurs be entrepreneurs. So they like to, provide a lot of money for that, money and guidance for that infrastructure. So that's a very neat individual that we can have to add value to the portal venture for the future. And Keely, an artist, a successful artist who can help coach the entrepreneurs and help both the youth and the artists in understanding what it's like to actually be an entrepreneur and just be an advisor. And again, you can see community elders to provide inspiration and guidance for the project. So next, we will have Tim come and present product and service.
Hi, my name is Tim Bohr. I'm going to be presenting on a few sections of the business plan, starting off with the service. The service, product service is kind of a slash between both that. The web portal is going to serve as a marketplace for the Native American artists to sell their artwork. Currently, they are going around, the more entrepreneurial artists are driving around to different regions to sell their artwork. This is taking time away from them focusing on creating artwork themselves, which is what their core competency is, and it's a very high cost. In the business plan, we do have a breakdown of how much this is going to be a benefit to them cost-wise to not go around and try to sell their artwork. Plus, they may not have the skills of negotiation as well, so this can serve as help them maximize the amount of money they'll be receiving for their artwork. Receive what they'll get the value for what they're creating. Unique features. This is very low cost. They more or less just take pictures of the artwork and stick it on the portal, and it has go through quality control. And it's you're being able to tap into an international marketplace instead of just a regional marketplace. So I'm going to go into a little bit further detail of how seasonal factors play in this as well. Differentiation that we are focusing in on here is quality of the website, but the main differentiating factor that distinguishes this portal from a lot of the competition is the connection to the community, as well as getting to know the artists themselves. So the buyer goes into the portal and they get to find out about the artist and the community, and that may actually attract them to the artwork itself instead of going to being attracted to the artwork and then finding out about the artist and the community. So we're kind of taking a little bit different approach at it. The cost of the product is 40% commission to the artist. Although that does seem a little high, it's kind of what a lot of venues around Santa Fe, Albuquerque, that's what they're charging currently, and they no longer have to drive to these venues or try to get the artwork there themselves. I'm going to switch over to the marketing plan. I have a very detailed marketing plan or research breakdown in the business plan, but I'm going to go over some of the major findings. The current size of annual artwork, not just Native American annual or artwork sold annually, is at $1 billion. The overall spending in artwork in the U.S. is 150 to 160 billion, and that's for all artwork, not just Native American artwork. And the target segment that we're focusing in on is a little bit under, or 795 million, and that's if you look at the breakdown of how the percentage of how the 1 billion is broke down. We're going after paintings and other media, some of the other ones, and some of the sculptures too, but some of the other segments don't really play into, aren't really what the artists in this community are creating. So we didn't really focus on the full segment of this. The growth potential, the industry is expected to grow 1.5% in 2012. There's a major growth in artwork that's over 100,000 or under 5,000. Anything between 5,000 and 100,000 is the growth of that artwork it's not growing nearly as fast as over 100K or under 5K. The trends for 2012 to 2013 is increased demand in authentic artwork, and the public is focusing on buying more authentic, not just Native American, but authentic of cultural authentic artwork. So, and that's expected for the next year or two, and after that it may continue. There's no other research that's able to project that out much further. Seasonal factors. Currently, Southwest art, the tourism market plays a huge role in this, and that's more in the summer months. And then after during the winter and spring is kind of where it tapers off and sales kind of decline for up until the tourism market increases again. However, online sales has a different trend. It's during the winter months. So October to December is where I believe two-thirds of the overall annual sales comes from. So we looked at possibly capturing both these both Southwest art sales as well as online sales to try to continue out the increase of sales to capture the summer month tourist sales as well as online winter sales. And I guess I'll go back to that a little bit. And the way we're focusing on doing this is where the web portal will have a link on it that has commercial sales. And so we're focusing on creating partnerships with a lot of brick and mortar locations in Santa Fe, Taos, Albuquerque, and they'll have a merchant link on there where they can go in and make large orders of specific types of artwork. So that's going to be where we're going to try to capture the summer months. And online sales is just going to be available all the time with a majority of advertising and Google ads going out toward the winter months where there's more of a demand for that. So the marketing is going to shift according to the seasonal trend that we're going in, whether summer or fall, winter. The competition, it's a very highly competitive market, and there's many different different routes that are actually playing a factor in the competition. Online art galleries is one of the major. That's your direct competition. However, there are local galleries, but we're trying to focus on not just making that competition, but partnering with them to make it more or less of a partner instead of a competitor. And in the Southwest region, there's a large concentration of reservations. I believe the number of federally recognized reservations is 566, if I remember exactly, and with a large concentration being in Arizona, New Mexico, California, and I believe Nevada, just really more or less in the Southwest region. So we're going to go a little bit more into detail of how we're going to try to make this less of competition, more in partnership in just a minute. Brick and mortar, as I was talking about, that's not just including the local art galleries. It's also including Sotheby's, which is the largest market player, and I forgot the name of the other one. But because although you're focusing on Native American artwork, all artwork is competitive because a consumer has an option to buy this piece of artwork or a Native American piece of artwork, especially when he goes to authentic. What type of authentic artwork are they going to be buying? And so it is more or less indirect competition. And then there's individual artists who have their own web portals or sell artwork through their own means. And they would be competition, but we're also going to talk about how we can try to leverage that into partnerships as well. And with Native American artwork, there is a big issue going on. It's been going on for probably the past 30 years. It is where it's really been growing. It's losing legitimacy because a lot of authentic artwork it's claimed to be authentic, Native American made. However, it's not, and a lot of it's coming from China or from just not Native American artists at all. It's just any type of artist. So it takes away, because a lot of times when consumers are buying Native American artwork, they want to buy artwork produced by Native Americans, and then they find out that it's not being produced by Native Americans. So and what kind of adds to this is online sales. Online sales, a lot of people don't trust online sales anyways. So they don't know for sure what they're buying is what it's said to be buying. So there is a factor of legitimacy, and we're going to go in a little bit further on. We're going to go into detail of how we're going to try to break that issue of legitimacy through partnerships with other nonprofits as well as government agencies. That's going to, and with the Oso Vista being a nonprofit, we believe that they will more easily be able to partner with other nonprofits as well as state agencies because of the goal that Oso Vista is pursuing. The customer profile: 64% of collectors are individuals. However, you can see other buyers, which we weren't even able to really figure out what that means. And then companies businesses and companies make up the other 25%. 74% of art collectors are age 60 and over. Less than 50% of internet users are above the age of 65. So we did notice that you're focusing on online sales with artwork, and most artwork is collected by people 60 and older, and people 65 and older are about half the time use the internet. So we did notice a little bit of a gap there. And initially, going into the growth strategy, we're going to talk about how we're going to try to capture some more of the segment that is actually purchasing the majority of the artwork. However, so we did notice quite a few similarities. In the report, it actually runs down with an extensive list of similarities as well as differences. But income and education are two large factors that play between art collectors as well as internet users. So we'll go a little bit more detail on that in just a minute. Advertising and promotion. Since it is online sales, we are focusing on social media, but it's kind of, everybody's doing that right now, so it doesn't really differentiate itself. And they're also finding out that social networking advertising is not as effective as what it once was thought at one time. Actually our main type of advertising is going to be through Google Ads. And Google Ads has a thing for nonprofits where it donates $10,000 a month for free Google ad. And it sounds like a lot, but you can go through that really quickly. And Google Ads actually allows you to do target marketing to specific demographics, specific geographic regions. They provide reports, and you can utilize it for once you figure out more or less where you want to target certain cells or to what demographic as well as what geographic region. You talk to the representative through Google Ads, and they switch it around to however you want. It's very customizable. We are focusing on automatic generated emails through Constant Contact, which is a free service, as well as text messages. Although this sometimes is seen as a clutter, if done correctly and created by people that are professionals in the industry, which the IT person is who we're going to be having do some of this, it is effective. Blogging is actually very effective as well, and because once you're into certain blogging websites, people that regularly follow these blogs, they're very interested in the topic. So if you're talking about Native American artwork, they're going to be more or less a market that you don't really have to advertise much to because they're already interested in that type of artwork. In the future, we're looking at printed advertising. The reason we're doing this is because of the difference that we saw between internet users as well as the art collectors themselves. So there are art magazines, or we have a list of different magazines that are very geared toward your specific target art audience. There are Native American art magazines, there's Southwest art magazines, there's a compiled list in the business plan. Business cards to the artist, we're going to help build the entrepreneurs, we're going to promote that they have their own business cards printed. This is going to be an expense to them, but it's going to help build their business because an artist, their business is their name, which is their brand name. However, we are going to allow them to have the Oso Vista logo on the card as well as a link to get to their artwork. But it's also going to it's going to be the Oso Vista link, so it's going to promote sales or online traffic that way as well. And then promotional prints, we're also going to try to have the artists go to trade shows. Oso Vista itself is not going to be going to these trade shows, but they're going to really try to promote that the artists themselves go to these trade shows to promote their own business. And then again, we're going to provide them with the logo as well as the link that helps promote their business as well as Oso Vista's traffic. And then as I mentioned previously, partnerships with government agencies and nonprofits. This is going to help direct traffic from government links and nonprofits to the web portal, and it's going to help gain legitimacy in the market. Next, I'm moving over to the operations and control systems. Receiving orders, the orders are going to be received through the portal, and it's going to be directed via email to the artist. However, we do recognize that a lot of artists in the area do not have internet access, so artists will be required to, at very minimum, at least have a cell phone. So if they do not have access to the internet, we can contact them through a cell phone or some type of a phone call, text message, just to let them know that they have an order that has been received. Payment to the vendors, it's going to be payment's going to be going through Oso Vista. So Oso Vista will receive all the payment, and then they give the 60% to the artist, and while keeping the 40% commission. And staff development is also going to be recommended through the IT company that we are referring to help with the IT of the portal. We'll also be providing training to the artists of or artists and staff of how to maintain the portal, as well as post their artwork on the portal. I'm going to turn it over to Kelly to talk about the financial.
Thank you, Tim. My name is Kelly Coolfay, and I'm going to go over the financial plan and some of the growth projections. So in this industry, we've experienced that, according to research and statistics, that during the last 3 years, this particular industry experiences about a 13% average growth rate in revenues. We've selected a target of 15%, and starting in the second year, we anticipate incremental growth in revenue from advertising, which Tim went over. And matter of fact, we feel like there's going to be an exponential impact on earnings, and I'll show you why. For the income, the way we calculated this is we got the average within the 5 years of service program revenue as a base, and then we looked at what on average what the merchants make, annualized that, took into account a 3% web vendor fee, the 40% commission that goes to Oso Vista, and that's kind of the figures that we came up with, and these are pretty conservative. Starting in year 2, you'll see the advertising revenue, which is better displayed, and I'll skip ahead to a graph. And so as long as Oso Vista controls the fixed expenses, and you'll see with the red curve, or the red line I should say, that they're going to be fairly stable and gradually increase, but the revenues, which is what we're really excited about, and that's going to really help sustain this project. Reversing a little bit, going back to what we anticipate some of these costs to be. For the fixed costs, they're, in this industry, they're expected to be fairly low in relation to the variable costs. We included the salaries also with the wages of the assurance person, the IT technician, and the office manager. The rent we're proposing in Pine Hill Shopping Center, that there's an additional 2,000 square foot office that we propose to be occupied. IT startup costs, just maybe a couple more computers, a server. Commercial insurance, maybe just revise that with the additional supplies. Some of the variable costs are, you have your overhead, office supplies, you have shipping expenses. We can anticipate some more travel expenses, utility, internet costs, and some advertising expenses, which go in a little bit more detail in the business plan. So going back, now that I've compared what we anticipate the revenues along with the expenses, throughout the year you'll see the profit margin gradually increase as well. So, break-even analysis, what we did is we looked at all the fixed costs and variable costs and compared it with the anticipated revenues. And this is the calculations that we calculated to ensure that the revenues can break evens with your costs. And that concludes the financial analysis. So I'm going to have Tim conclude it with the recommendations.
And I'm back with the growth plan. Growth, we're looking at 3 areas of growth. The artists, one way that the portal grows through the artists is selling their artwork through the portal. And this is initially we're going to expand with the artists in the RAMA national community, and we're also looking at in future years after the RAMA community is saturated and pretty much all the artists are selling through the portal. We're looking at expanding into additional reservations and expanding the portal to have different links and promote sales through other reservations. It can follow the same business model, and Oso Vista can help develop those areas as well as grow the organization itself. And then later on years, we're looking at maybe year 7, expand into other states in the Southwest region, and then much further projections, possibly nationally or internationally, to develop communities, native communities as well. And then another area of growth is increasing portal traffic, and this is increasing your buyer base. And we're going to the main way we're focusing on doing this is pay-per-click, and then selling through online venues and online partnerships. And the selling through other online venues, there is going to be a commission. We're expecting it's going to be negotiated, but something under 10%. We're looking at 2 to 3%, but it's really on a negotiation base, so it really just depends. And then the third area of growth is distribution partnerships, and this is going to be through brick and mortar as well as online sell locations. And then there's other areas of technology that you can partner with or work through that can also promote sales. Smartphone applications. There's applications to buy artwork. However, this is not the ideal place people buy artwork is through a smartphone, but the industry is growing, and the reason why we suggested not developing a application is there's so many phone apps out there right now. It's kind of oversaturated. If you throw out another phone app, nobody's going to really care about it. Nobody's really going to use it. We have a list of some of the top, I believe the top 10 art phone applications, and that's who we would target in selling through, because they already have a name in the marketplace, and they're not just another phone app that's on the market. The recommendations, some of these are long-term and some of these are more close-term. We're looking at leveraging the web portal to, because without some type of leverage, it's jumping into an unknown market with an unknown experience of how to work some of this stuff. Initially, we were talking about having the ranch as a tourist location, and this is it's nearly the same demographics as the art collectors themselves. So we would build a link, or in the web portal have where they could go visit the Native American culture. You can go experience it. You can help create artwork with Native American and experience the culture itself, and that would be initially. And we're looking at a lot of this is very long term, because our main focus now is building the web portal, perfecting that, building the name, growing it through client, through partnerships, and that's going to be the main focus. But these are most of these are going to be 5+ years down the future. There are a few that are a little bit more short term, but again, our main focus is going to be building and developing the web portal itself. Hopefully within a 5-year period is doing the packaging, Oso Vista doing the packaging themselves. And this would allow for more quality control as well as advertising, a lot more advertising. The packaging itself can be Oso Vista packaging, and that's going to help promote and build the web portal itself. And some of the other things that we have in here are more or less geared toward the tourist as well as the geo-traveler. And that's kind of a whole nother thing in itself, but these are areas that we're looking for possibly growing at in 5+ years, except for maybe a few of them. So now we're going to turn it over to questions, and I'm going to ask my team to join me.
I have a question. Kelly, can you go back for me to your slides of your projections and help us understand? I do understand the fixed cost and through advertising, then an increase in revenue. And so tell me again how you got this number.
Sure. So for year 1, we did the program service revenue average, and I used a nice whole number of about 99,000. And so I got that from the tax return, so I used that as a base. Assuming that there is a 100% participation rate with all 50 merchants, we used a conservative figure of saying, well, they make about $600 per month. According to our research and with our field notes, Successful merchant can make $1,100 to $1,200 a month. So we use 600 just to be conservative. So with that, we assume in year one it'd be 360,000 that all 50 merchants could potentially make on their sales. We got that number, and then we start taking out a 3% web vendor commission, which is in the business plan proposal. And then we did 40% of that figure, and that 40% figure would be what the vendor would make. That's the commission. Added that to the base, and then you roughly get this about 238,680. Then what we did is we added the 15% growth that we did each consecutive year, and then we factored in what we thought the advertising would have an impact starting on year two. And that's why if you look at the line graph, you're going to see on year two it went kind of from a gradual, and then you'll have an impact from the advertising revenue. So you can see a nice spike. The same thing's going to happen with your advertising expenses, but then they're eventually going to be smoothed out over the years, and you're going to have your revenue increase. So that's kind of what we used to kind of project revenue. So it also includes the service revenue, along with what we think that the web portal is going to have an impact with the merchants. But that's also assuming 100% participation rate with all 50 merchants as well.
And when he's talking about the advertising, we're talking about print ads for the magazines. Although they do increase the cost, they had statistics of people, buyers that have a magazine, as well as their purchase rate, about typically what they purchase, and that's going to be in the appendix of the business plan. So we went with statistics they provided, and we focused on I believe year two we were focusing on one magazine, and then every additional year we added another magazine that we're going to be advertising through. And it would, I don't remember the numbers exactly, but I believe it was about $2,000 to $3,000 a month per magazine, but then it increases sales X amount. So.
You gave us recommendations on which magazines you thought hit our target market best.
We gave almost every list that we gave or every recommendation we gave, like the top 10, and very specific to your market. So Native American artwork, and then some I believe some of it was Southwest artwork or something. So.
Okay, and that'll be helpful.
And I'm sorry not to interrupt, but when I said exponential, in theory with advertising, it should have, with word of mouth, have a compounding effect. So we feel that even though the advertising expenses might seem a little steep during the first year or two that you implement it, it's going to pay off dividends in the long term.
Yeah, I can see that.
Especially with this industry, the web vendor, like all those avenues that Tim was talking about that we recommended for advertising.
All of that. So just to rephrase what you had said on the numbers, so if we take, on average, an artist or craftsperson in the community might make around $600 a month, and our target is 50 artists or craftspeople to launch with, which we've talked with some people in the community, and they felt that that was a realistic number. So you multiplied that out and then decreased it, and then took 40% of that number and added that to our grant base?
Correct.
Okay, because our grant base then is providing some salaries. Mm-hmm. Some salary support, some rent support, infrastructure support.
That's a great point too, and I was thinking about that. We were collectively thinking about that, because in order to support, salary, looking at the 990, that's mostly supported from your program service revenue. So it wouldn't, in my opinion, make sense if you were solely depending on the web vendor to pay that. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a collective effort, but sure, really using the web vendor as kind of the catalyst to really increase the profits.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense.
One of the questions that I'm thinking about here was, to sell art, there's some name recognitions that needs to happen. Mm-hmm. How do you propose, or how will we get the name of our artists out there to be recognized? I mean, they're saying online is kind of a little legitimacy issue on who is selling the product or whatever, and if it's going to be made. And say I went to Walmart about their made in China thing, scratch that out, say here's my name to it, and myself. I know the quality assurance person is checking out all the artwork, make sure that they're identified and that they're authentic. So one guy asked us 2 questions then, but how do you get the name up of our community artists out there for people to buy their crafts from?
Well, one way we're focusing on is through the entrepreneurial development. So a lot of the training of developing the entrepreneurs is going to be, because the web portal is going to be a venue of sales for them, but a lot of the name recognition is going to kind of be something that they need to focus in on, and that's going to be developed through some of the training, through trade shows that they should attend. And it's different ways that they need to advertise, because the advertising we're focusing in on is for advertising the portal itself, and it's more or less for them to develop their own name. It's going to be through so it's a lot of the entrepreneurial training courses that they're going to be taking, which is something that Ms. Merrill was talking about that she wanted to have, and then for the quality assurance. There are I forgot the names of the laws, but there are 2 laws in place that protect consumers against buying non-authentic artwork. And then, other than the quality assurance checking over it and knowing the community members themselves, that's as much as quality control as you can put on it.
Leon also had a good idea too. He was talking about doing a registered trademark.
Oh yeah.
Put on each art piece as well to show that it's authenticity from the actual Raymond community instead of coming from any other communities. So
one of the ad or whatever profile will be for artists that are having their information on them and they're making sure that this is the type of work they're producing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also let me add to that it's our hope that a lot of the existing artists already have experience and already have a name out there within the community, and this will help to help them gravitate to this to have a wider audience, so they don't have to travel all over the state and market their stuff. They're going to have these personalized cards that's going to have access to the internet portal, which will further distribute their name. It's a further reach for them, so they can market themselves. And that's essentially what they're going to do. Like Tim said, we're teaching them entrepreneurial skills and giving them a lot of education on how to be entrepreneurs. So those that don't have their name out, one way is through the cards that we give out, and as well as the video profiles that we'll have of the artists on the portal, which the youth will be taking care of.
Yeah, and to expand on what Alan and Leon had said previously, but we were thinking, and that's what another thing that I kind of didn't really discuss too much in detail in the recommendations is having a stamp that says it would be through you guys that would say Oso Vista Rama reservation, and or something along to show that it's authentic, and they would have be provided with that stamp like if they're doing clay, it would be like a stamp into the clay. If there's a painting, it would be an ink type stamp or something that shows that it's authentic. And again, is it 100% quality control? No, but there's really never a chance where you can have 100% quality control unless you watch them make it or something. So.
And a couple ideas on that too. Because we're going to create strong collaborations with brick and mortar operations, galleries, or shops, it's possible too that they would work with us to have opening shows or gallery shows, things like that, to showcase different ones of our artists. And I think probably what we could do is, depending on where that type of thing was happening, then we would showcase those artists that will be at wherever that is, also in our ads in the journals that come out each month. So I think we can really help with the name recognition. And then in terms of the legitimacy, for me, one of the most important things, and we've talked a lot about this, and I know your plan focuses mostly on how are we going to manage the business aspects of it, and I really appreciate that. Included in that is a very rich story context that we're going to create, and it'll be stories of the people in the community and stories of the artists, bios of the artists, whether those be photographs or video, and we'll be teaching our youth how to be the photographers and the videographers and the interviewers like they were in the South Sea magazine. And so those our youth are going to be photographing artwork and helping us, with quality photos. But I think that the story context that we're creating and the fact that someone will be able to look at a piece of artwork and click on the bio and then see a video of the artist working in their workspace, in and of itself, the story creates legitimacy.
Right.
And I also think that that is the key to really differentiating yourself from the others around you, so that people are like, oh, I want to hear the story, I actually want to help this community, so I want to go back to this portal. So I think that is a key part of the success.
It really is. And when you think about your traveler, or
that.
most art buyers are over 60, there's a very big market of people that are looking for adventure or culture travel. They really want an authentic experience. And those people are willing to go to communities, to meet the artists, to purchase from them. And I think that the portal can also create that link to those people who aren't necessarily going to look at on the internet for artwork. They're going to look for an experience and to meet the people that they're buying from.
And that's something that can be the web portal. It can be leveraged to use. It's a little bit unrelated, but you can use the web portal to attract them, and it's already the same demographic in which you're targeting. However, that's something that, as of now, we think the main focus should be on the website. Make sure it's the process is streamlined, quality is up there, all the staff they're really comfortable with it before go after another venture. Just make sure this is the main focus at initially start off with. So.
Yeah, and just to kind of add to that with one of the recommendations, with the stories and everything in generating tourism and followers of people who want to see more of an elaboration on that story. Like the community art project is what we talked about for the youth to do, and something substantial, and to register with newmexicoarts.org to help filter people to your area, to Rama, to experience all of that, the whole ambiance of the Rama community and what's going on there, and so that is what we're utilizing to help that out.
I also really appreciated that you included the collaborations with the state, because the state of New Mexico, as one of their initiatives, is adventure and culture travel. The Department of Tourism, and then the Department of Indian Affairs, one of their main initiatives is support of entrepreneurship in Native communities. And so they're looking forward to hearing about this plan once we got it established. And so you're absolutely, you're right on the money with all of that. That's a big leg up.
Mr. Rafaelito?
Thank you. Fan tourism. Well, there's that HOA trails, route 53, route for tourism development stuff. We have that process in our area that we tie into. Just a question on, there's other. Did you research other organizations, nonprofits that are doing this type of activity and how successful they are?
Yeah, we did provide a list of other web portals selling artwork. However, so a lot of the main competitors, their quality wasn't as high, or they didn't go as much into, they focused more on the artists themselves instead of the community and tying it all into one nice package. So we believe that there is a niche, even though there still are some websites that are doing exactly this. It really limits your direct competition. So there is, but we believe if done correctly through quality, community ties, and story of the artist, and just really focus on those three, that you have a niche there, and the competition is not too direct with it.
Two that come to mind that does this on their website. There's a lot of them do that. Was Southwest Indian Foundation out of Gallup. They do have a process for that, and then the here in Albuquerque is the Futures for Children program. So, and then I was thinking about I know there's a American Indian Movement that has a website that sells some of their products, or the Gathering of Nations. So those would be the web portals that have out there that we could form partnership with? Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, so especially a gathering of nations, we figured that can be, because of kind of what their goal is, you can partner with them and have a shared link. And a lot of this type of stuff, you're going to have to pay some commission and negotiate a commission amount. But instead of having it as direct competition, maybe have it as a partnership. However, some we know that you're not going to be able to partner. It is direct competition, and that's one thing with this industry is it is pretty saturated. So you just have to focus on how to differentiate yourself from the competition.
Did you look at the one in Santa Fe Indian Market? Major.
I think we had looked at that one.
What do they do, and what are some things that we could?
Well, Santa Fe Indian Market really is for all authentic Native American art. You know, it comes around annually in August, I believe, and so really it's up to the artist, individual artist, to enter themselves into that venue, and partnering with them, I'm not sure.
I mean, do they have a website like this available, or?
No, I don't think so, no. And the websites, the unique aspect about this is the story and the youth and building up the entrepreneurs within the community. But the ones that come to mind, like you said, Futures for Children, they actually partner with another Native American business that sells jewelry. However, that just has nothing but stock on it, no story other than, you know, maybe a summary of something. Now, the ones that we're thinking about are state-based organizations, others like IACA, Indian Arts and Crafts Association, that authenticate a lot of the Native American artists and venues that they put on as well.
Another differentiating factor that is in the plan is the story, not just the story of the community, but also of Oso Vista, what it's doing to develop the community. These funds are a nonprofit. It's going to be redirected to help develop this community. So when people buy artwork through, like a consumer goes in, they go to buy artwork through this, they know that they're not just buying a piece of artwork, they're also developing a community. They're working with developing entrepreneurs and a community that more or less rural community. So that's got to be, you know, well portrayed to them when they go there. They don't have to search for this information. It's got to, you know, here's what we do. Here's how we provide this, and a lot of it's going to have to be in the design itself of the web site, and that's something that goes to the IT consultant. That's none of us are IT, so I can't really help you with that one.
And Mr. Rafaelito, kind of to add to Santa Fe Indian Market, you know, that's part of the marketing aspect of our recommendations for artists themselves, outside of the portal really. But one idea that you can think of in trying to build a partnership with them is possibly setting up a booth that focuses on Native American youth and art. But overall, really, because for my experiences over the several years going to Santa Fe Indian Market, they love youth art. I mean, it gets bought up so quickly. So that's one thing you do want to think about, but it does have to be individual. You might want to set up a booth to market the actual portal, but you do want to encourage more of the youth. Now, the other side to that is Santa Fe Indian Market. I always call it Santa Fe Indian Markup because they triple the price, and really it's people in the demographic that we talked about who can afford the art, who go to pay the markup price, and they're looking for really high-end art. Yeah. So in terms of building a partnership, you know, forecasting into the future, think about building the youth and uplifting them to create this art and market it there, where it will funnel down in, you know, a cyclical format through Oso Vista portal as well, and back to Oso Vista community.
One in the plan, it wasn't in the presentation, but we're focusing on the 5,000 or less market because, I mean, we could be wrong. We believe that nobody in the Rama community has a well-established name that can, you know, attracts these high-end buyers. So we're hoping to develop the artists themselves so they can possibly move into that market. But to our knowledge and the information that we had, we believe it's going to be in that segment there. And there was something else, but I guess I'll move it on to something.
That's a real good point on the name recognition and with the youth with Santa Fe in the market and establishing that contact with them. That's a way to build up name recognition over the years. Yeah.
It's not. It's something that's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a lot. You know, the more years it is, the more Oso Vista is going to be known and what they do, and then the individual artists themselves will start establishing names. And through a lot of the entrepreneurial training, we're going to, when we were talking about trade shows, we're also talking about, you know, a lot of the events that go on around the communities, and promoting that they go to these things, and you know, give them like help them show financially how much it's going to cost, how much it can potentially make, how to promote themselves when they're at these events. This is all going to be done through the entrepreneurial education and training.
And that's on the portal website that you could access that then. Or is that
the training?
Password, you know, whatever it
well,
is.
for the training, we were thinking more of having classes like actually in
You know, a physical class.
yeah. It's more effective and has. I mean, it's like online classes. I never take them. I never get anything out of it.
I have the same problem with it. Can't learn online.
But you bring up a good point, because the portal does have that capacity.
Yeah.
But you don't want to take that resources.
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of different opportunities here, but it's kind of, you know, focus on these aspects first, and as you go on, you're going to see there's other. You can say, oh well, there's this thing that we didn't consider, and that can be. I mean, a business plan is a living document, anyways. You change it. However, if you see something else come up, and it's like, well, this is actually we didn't consider this, and it seems a great potential, then you can add that in.
I would bet we could do a back office for the artists
Just like
and
Tim
have
said,
training posted there.
efficiency is the most important thing at first. You have to be efficient at what you're doing first and competent at what you're doing first before you can move on to something else. So that's the main focus, just the efficiency and competency of the portal itself before you start moving into other ventures.
Make it attractive.
But in that same thinking line of thing, I know this makes this worldwide, right, accessible. How's the European market for in arts and craft?
It's well, the euro is losing its buying power, so it is not growing as fast, but there is a high demand there. And we didn't focus too much on the international part of it first. We were focusing on just the U.S. itself, and we moved from the Southwest to just internationally. And in the business plan, we even have a map that shows where the concentration of reservations are. So the geographic targeting through Google Ads, you can focus on the areas where there are, some states have nearly no reservations, so you can market there and find if maybe there's a demand there or create a demand there. So we're focusing on the U.S. first, and then marketing internationally will be done in later.
Expanding on that though, you don't really want to per se go towards the European market, it's more towards the Asian market.
Yeah,
Japan is huge right now. It's exploding for Native American crafts and jewelry and stuff like that, and that's pretty much where the focus would probably want to be, expanding into the international market.
There's this huge craze in Japan, especially for the Western civilization, or the Western. Yeah, so I mean that would be probably on an international scale where we would recommend going first overseas.
Yes. Yeah. Was there a specific target groups that this is going to be marketed to, like collectors and?
Yeah, in the demographics we had it broke down into internet sales. Well, I didn't put it on here. Yeah, we didn't. It's mainly in the report. We have the demographics of both internet users as well as art collectors, and there are differences, but there's similarities. And I stuck the main ones on here, the main gap as well as the main similarities, and the percentages are on there, so you kind of can narrow it down to specific income levels as well as. I mean, there's a lot of different factors in it.
Basically, like 60-year-olds plus, and then they have middle to upper income and stuff like that.
And as well as tourists.
Yeah.
Being the main.
And I believe we have the demographic, or kind of the tourist, and more or less the tourists in this area follow kind of a similar demographics as an art collector. It's 60 plus, a certain income level, and it's on there as well, I believe. I don't remember exactly.
Talking about focusing on Japan, within our country here, what area of the country, maybe what area of the country buys Native American artwork mostly? Is it like Eastern half, Western half?
In the United States?
Yeah.
In my experience, I'm not sure what the current research shows, but in my experience, it's everywhere. It's West and East Coast pretty equally.
Also, so it's pretty much.
And everywhere in between, but yeah.
There's a saturation in the
South.
Midwest, mid to Southwest, because that's pretty much where it's all produced. But
As far as purchasing,
Right.
yeah. I've been dealing with wholesale art for many years, and so my experience is, I mean, I can picture every area that I've shipped huge amounts of art to.
This isn't in the business plan, but there's a shift to the Sun Belt. A lot of retirees are moving to the Sun Belt. When they move here, they like the culture, they like the artwork. So there is actually a pretty big demand of it is here in the Southwest. But so I mean, a lot of it is regional marketing as well. So, and that can be done through local. Partnering with local brick and mortar venues, as well as target marketing through Google Ads to the Southwest region.
Was part of your recommendation to have them target some of the areas where they don't have the reservations, so because you thought those areas would be less saturated?
Yeah.
So
Well, it's not on the
given
plan.
that, I think, and this shows where they have the reservations, and so you can even target some of the areas where, since it's internet, maybe you'll be able to find
I didn't stick that on there.
people who want the artwork that
Yeah.
don't see it all the time.
Overlap.
I mean, it gets, if you want to get really, really detailed in marketing, you can.
When they go to read it.
Question of taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, there is a online, there's no taxes when purchase online? Or is, did they pass that law yet?
It depends,
I don't know.
and one of the recommendations is for in the contracts, Ms. Morel, as well as you, I'm sure, are going to have to research a lot of that and be in compliance with New Mexico tax law statutes, as well as federal. So in the report, it's included that under contracts. Now, when you're selling stuff out of town online, there's a certain I can't remember exactly the tax breakdown there, but actually operating as a business, you have to pay certain taxes. It just depends on how you're going to operate. So you're going to have to follow up on that, depending on where things are going and how you're operating.
Yeah, they have the researcher and they have a nation taxes.
Well, that's another one of the reasons we were talking about going on the 501c3 with this instead of starting another venue is a lot of tax breaks that you get with it. So.
Another question about payment to vendors. You had a split with 40-60,
Mm-hmm.
40 for operation of the business and then 60 to the vendor. Is that split where the vendor's asking for the amount of the price of his work or her work? Or is that 40% tacked on to what he's asking?
It's going to be 40% of the sales price. So whatever the artwork sells for, they're going to receive 60% of that. So and some of this, that's going to kind of go with pricing the artwork, and it goes with name recognition, how the artwork's produced. It's in the plan. I'm sure you guys know this a lot more than I do, but what determines the value of artwork is methods used in production, the artists themselves. Like I know that painting, the paints themselves, if they're just made with the minerals, it's valued higher. If the ceramics, if it's done the historic way of doing it, is valued more, whereas a kiln used to produce it lowers the value. So there's a lot of factors that play into the pricing of it. So, and that's something it depends on artist per artist, artwork itself type thing. So.
But I think also what you're looking for more is there'll just be one price. It's going to be Oso Vista's price. They're going to get 60% of that price, whatever that price is.
And
Go ahead.
And I'm sorry, and you actually will help to determine with the artist how much are you going to mark that up, so that way all of the appropriate margins are made.
Yeah. It's my experience that often when people are starting out or their market is limited, they undervalue their work.
Yeah.
And so if we can help them value their work appropriately, they may in fact get the same or more than they're currently charging for it. Although, you know, we'll be taking 40% to cover our operational costs.
And I think part of the 40%, you guys had the breakdown of they're saving,
Yeah.
they're saving time traveling so they can produce more artwork.
You
They
got
don't
that
have to have the
breakdown
travel
in the report.
expenses and all of those
Awesome.
things. And since it's a nonprofit, it's not for somebody to get rich, but it's really to reinvest back into making this artwork more valuable in the future as well.
If you, in the business plan, we have it's a rough breakdown of the costs that them selling their own artwork is. Plus, and I didn't even put into that other than just mentioning that they may not be the greatest negotiators, because that's not what they do. They produce artwork. They're not salespeople. So if you look in the business plan, it breaks down the cost and shows them that can be used as saying, you know, this is a benefit is of you have to spend gas, hotel stay, food, and then time, opportunity cost of making your own artwork and focusing on sales. You're able to make, this is how much you're losing off of all this. So it is broke down in there. And then, what was the other thing I was going to say?
And they get a wider reach.
Yeah. So
there's going to be more total units.
Yeah. Not only that, some people just aren't adept to everything. I mean, maybe their focus should be on production because they don't want to do sales. It's just not something that they like to do. So.
Talking about the value of artwork, my mom, she's 92 now. All through her life, she's been making skirts, novel skirts, velvet shirts, and lately she's been into making those Pendleton jackets. Mm-hmm. But when it comes down to her selling it, she has no idea how much she's going to sell it for. And I asked her, okay, how much the material costs? How much work you put into this? But she just doesn't want to get into those things. And more or less, she's kind of thinking that, you know, at least I'm getting some money out of it, you know. That's basically her idea. So, for instance, this past weekend, myself and my sisters, we helped her. She does food sale every once in a while. We helped her, and she had some of those hunting jackets out there. And we were asking her, how much are you selling this for? She says, well, whoever can pay whatever. She says, no, you know, these are made good. You made them, you know it's good. And then we set a price for her, about 50. Then we said, yeah, that's fine. Hey, how about 75? No, people won't buy it.
Yeah.
You know,
they undervalue it.
What the market bears.
Well, you can also look at comparables too in the industry. You know, you can research what others are going for online, and of course, based off your differentiating factors and what other people are selling it for, you can market appropriately.
And I can tell you right now, the Pendleton company sells jackets for over $500.
Oh yeah.
And they're not Native American made.
The thing is
handmade
that
anyway.
most of her customers are
They're
Native.
comfortable.
That's a problem, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They don't have the income to be paying that much.
Well, when
Put it online and be able to sell it for, I mean, even $200, $250, and people still wouldn't get a great deal. Yeah.
Well, the problem with pricing it lower as well is people see it as, oh, it must be lower quality because it's priced low. So you're kind of hitting yourself two ways. You're not building your name because people see it as low quality because you're not charging enough. So you're never going to build your name because you're always undervaluing your products. So you're hurting yourself as well as, I mean, you may not initially see your sales, but it's going to build your name and you're going to be known as quality. And sometimes price determines the quality. People look at the price and say, oh man, it's got to be worth, you know, it's got to be high quality. I'm paying, you know, X amount of dollars for it.
Got to be the real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the main thing that we're missing in a sense of the resources of doing business in our community. You know, let's say for Raven Avenue, compare it to down the road, the village of Zuni. Mm-hmm. Who have a lot of small business and stuff that are developing, they're running at the art and all that. And then back to our community, where's the business of it? So there's a lot of training or catching up we need to do. And what Tim Miranda's talking about, you know, her mom being pricing that. You're selling it local only, so it's just for the local market. You're trying to get money from people or that. But we're thinking about expanding it outside the community, selling it. There's other places are selling it at the pendulum, like as you're saying. You know, how can we start thinking in that type of business-minded sense? And the other thing with us is that if you're a business person, you have to really be stingy and not want to help other folks with whatever they're asking you. So, hey, can I borrow this? And okay, or can I have it this price? So there's that we have that strong kinship thing in our communities. So selling it locally, it has to have a different picture of selling online and other folks that are willing to pay the higher price. So I guess that concept of thinking within the artists ourselves, we really need to establish that type of thinking in our communities.
Stinginess.
And that will come with all of the training.
Yeah.
It will come with all the training, and of course that's the 40% of value that Oso Vista will be adding. With,
I don't know that's going to be a good point or a bad point for our community.
You can actually separate that too. You can actually still use your brick and mortar current system that you have now to supply the community with, and then you also use the business side of it to actually just run the web portal itself. So you can actually tie them both together, and you could still have everybody nice and happy. So.
As long as you're breaking even on costs, yeah.
Well, there's those that savings.
It may be something that has to be done now, what you're currently doing, because it's limited resources in local limited resources, whereas when you expand into international or even nationally, you're bringing in capital, so you don't it changes the business model that you have with that too. You don't have to look at, oh, well, you know, we're focusing on just very minuscule profits here, and just, you know, we got to beat this person's price. It opens you up, so you're bringing money into the community to help develop it as well. So,
have you guys considered a bidding aspect of bidding on items?
Like an online auction?
yeah, I personally really think that devalues it, and then you're starting to open yourself to some of the other competitors like eBay, and then Etsy does the same thing, and they do more artwork and type stuff like that. So you're pulling yourself into stronger and stiffer competition. And then even eBay, I mean, I don't like buying stuff on eBay because it's a little sketchy. So if I go to buy something on a website that I've never heard of, I mean, that really puts you, that coupled with the legitimacy issue, it's like, you know, I don't know if I'm going to buy anything from there.
And the other buying stuff on that, paying over the internet and all that stuff, the security that's required to do the transaction, the cost for that's going to, how much is that? How do we, I mean, the IT person ever doing it has to keep everything up secure and network, computer security-wise with the system.
Well, we had a few. There's actually a few suppliers of that. There's software suppliers. I forgot the names of them, but I believe that they're in the business plan as well. And they're the one that's actually, their software is actually doing the security of its Vera.
I heard about PayPal.
Yeah.
PayPal is huge. It's just,
yeah.
I think there's
big
more listed inside the business.
Yeah, we've provided a few. And some of these, if you look on some websites, when you buy something, you'll have 4 or 5 names there of who you're going through, and it's for security, depending on what method you're buying through, or the buyer themselves sometimes has an account with one of the providers. So it kind of depends on which one they use.
So would Oso Vista would have to make a contract with one of those entities to process payments through?
One or all. You can kind of pick it. And they provide a lot of, I mean, each additional service you add on, it helps you, you know, that much more, makes it that much easier for you, but the downside is they charge you for it. So you can have them do a lot.
But it also allows the consumer to feel safe, you know, about the transaction.
Yeah.
And so it authenticates
I don't know,
everything.
you know, ask my IT person there. Feel safe. He doesn't have the right payment.
I'm an IT person, but I just don't trust what the system does to a person's information. So I more or less stay away from it.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah. Since we're doing shipping and handling and shipping products over the Post-its, or how?
UPS, FedEx.
Several venues.
Yeah.
The insurance for that is paid by the consumer.
Yeah.
On that, right?
And they have, and it varies off the price. So let's say they're buying a $1,000 piece of artwork, they're going to have to pay X amount of dollars. So it's the value of the product itself or how much they want to insure on it. Depends on what they pay for it. So it's one of those scale systems.
And usually FedEx, UPS, and post office insure up to $100 for free. I haven't been a shipping manager in a long time, so I don't know if USPS changed that, but I know that FedEx and UPS still offer the first $100 free, and then after that 15 cents, 30 cents, on up to X amount. So I mean, the more it's insured, the more they take care of it, and when it gets to them, if something were to happen, they're responsible for it. Issuing a claim if something happens and investigating it all, and so on your end, you're safe either way.
And to kind of the quality control person's going to ensure that when it goes into packaging, but then it's one thing that you really want to ensure the artwork goes in without damage or effects of any sort, because we would also, so it's not even in here, but try to go with the Better Business Bureau. And so some of these partnerships or paying to be a member of, it just helps build your the trust in the company itself, even though they do charge. We didn't recommend the BBB at first because of you do want to keep your costs low, but there are online, I mean, without your choice or not, if somebody's unhappy with you, you'll find it online somewhere, so if you want to review it. So
That was, I guess, my question. If the customer got us open this and said, this isn't what I ordered, or this, yeah, it was what he ordered, but there's a, what do you call that? Discrepancy, or there's a complaint on that.
Defect.
How does that?
We had an exchange policy. We didn't, because of how you have to do if you're doing refunds, the finance and the way that you have to set funds aside, and you have to have cash. It just gets very, very complicated. We didn't have a return policy, but we had an exchange policy, and it's more or less you send it back. There is a percentage restock fee, and then we send something that's under your specifications, whether if it had chip on it or whatever, and that would have to be talked between Oso Vista and the artist of how that cost is going to be shared.
And then the quality assurance person is also responsible for the quality of the actual advertisements that are on the web itself, like the pictures, videos, and photos and stuff like that. They have to actually pretty much replicate what's actually being sold and not be exaggerated or anything else like that.
To address buyer remorse, that's really challenging. So that's something you're going to have to really talk about and figure out. But just know that it can amount to high amounts of costs on your end.
Yeah, I just had a little experience in that process when we were doing Southwest style furniture, and we put an order together and we shipped it back east, and the customer said no, we didn't want it to wash, just start color, so they didn't pay for the rest of it. But that's another story. That lesson learned. Get all your money up front.
So good experiences you can add.
Yeah.
And there's a whole section on there, we won't go into detail about if the buyer orders a customized product, and there's a whole process in there, and you may want to change it according, because again, you guys are the experts, but you may want to adjust it accordingly, but you have a process for customized orders. So.
I know the gentleman you name in there, Keeley, he does commission artwork. People want to do artwork, he draws for them and stuff like that. So is that what you mean by?
Yeah.
Customized orders?
Well, that and pottery and clothing, really anything that the customer may want kind of specified.
If they want to modify something on the product, that's a customized order. Because there's going to be like standard products, and then there's going to be special orders that they can place.
Inventory. We don't have just-in-time inventory.
No.
It's just something that you have, it's made here, but the artist takes care of that until it's sold or they sell it somewhere else. If we're advertising, say this, this is for sale here. It's on the internet. It's only one piece it had, but the orders got sold with somebody else off the line. There has to be that's an IT person that says no longer available, or whatever. So each one of these pieces of art is unique in itself. It's not in a manufacturing process, right?
I think it can be programmed into the IT system so that once it sells, it doesn't pop up, right? That would just be something you told your programmer, I guess.
Yeah, you could probably tie it in with your, when they purchase it, it automatically deducts it from your other thing.
When you go to hit out quantity, it just doesn't, it says no longer, a lot of places do that now.
Can be done with like the website to really, a lot of choices that can be made. I think the place that you guys were working with, you get somebody providing the website. So like as you talk to them, I think you can kind of say these are what we would like to happen.
And there's a lot of inventory control systems that you can buy too. Some of them are kind of cheap. There's some that you can even get through Excel. Some of the more elaborate and more expensive ones like SAP, Matrix, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it would seem that you would want each artist to have 2 or 3 pieces of artwork on there so that they're not out of luck if the one piece they have up sells.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Or however many. You guys have done a fabulous job on this. Thank you. I've been impressed from the start with their depth of thinking into the project. Okay. So they've done a good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been great working with you too.
Yeah.
Can we do another project now?
talk to that guy. We're all graduating.